What are we drinking on today?
That's we haven't got we got a whole thing we do.
Oh, you got
look at this guy. This guy has been here for 10 minutes. Got 10 minutes going to tell me how to run a podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to stay.
Oh my God. Welcome to the RevMatch Podcast, the automotive podcast where we insult our guests in the first 10 seconds. That's how we do it, baby. We have Leonard on the show today. He is a fellow Skyline bro, just like Mark over here. Mike, whatever the hell his name is. It's been a long week, guys. It's been a long week, guys. It's been a long week. I'm sorry. Dad's got a job again. Things are rough.
Did you actually start that?
Yeah, I did actually start that, but that's not important. So yeah, Mike met Leonard. Where'd you guys even hook? How'd that whole thing happen?
OnlyFans.
Got it. Makes sense.
No, I joined a couple of like Northern California Skyline groups on Facebook, and he posted a photo of like this intersection that I used to drive through all the time, where an area that I lived in, and I was like, son of a bitch.
You're like,
I know exactly where that's at. That's at Blue Oaks and like this street. And so I like DM'd him on Facebook, and we just started chatting, and then eventually got to meet up and check cars out and all that stuff, and tell me what he has and all the cool
Mike
shit.
really slid into your DMs.
I did.
Yeah, he did.
I did.
He really did.
Yeah, he really did.
And I responded with the quickness. I was really thirsty.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. I shot my shot.
So you've got a pair of Wu-Tang War Whistles? Because I also have a pair of Wu-Tang War Whistles. So,
I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, sure.
It's a turn ski, bro. You know the turn. You know the little turbo.
Oh, I got two of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. And here we go, full circle, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have a pair. You're single.
So up on the screen right now is this is Leonard Scott, and it's not blue anymore. You said, right?
No, well, it's a different shade of blue.
The different shade of blue. So you've got. So one, it's very clean. It's got a fatty intercooler in the front. I can tell. What wheels are those? They're black.
Now they're the SSR. They're the SSF Type F wheels.
Okay.
They're Japanese company. 18 by 10.5 plus 22 set on all four.
That's so what do you 10.5 so those 275s?
No, I'm still rocking 265 35 18s on it. They're just a little bit too stretched for my liking, but it's the last set of the rubber that I had.
What kind of what tires do you have on it right now?
They're Dunlop Z3 the Dunlop Dureza Z3 Star Specs.
Okay.
That you could only get in Japan, apparently.
Yeah. It's a thing.
I try to order a new set and a new size, and I can't get it here in the States.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. So tell us, and I know that you said that this would open a can of worms. So before we do this, actually, let's go through the top of the show, what we always do. What are we drinking clockwise from my screen, Timmy?
I'm drinking the same thing as last time. I got the Ninkasi Brewing IPA like mixed group, so we're starting with the double IPA Tricera hops.
Nice.
Ooh.
Leonard, what do you got?
I had this mezcal, Magnificent Vida.
That's good shit.
It's really good stuff. Whoa. Picked it up at Bevmo. It's on sale.
Nice. We're all about a sale.
Sale.
Chris, you're up. Straight out of the whorehouse.
You gotta make money somehow, man. I got Ballast Point Passing Haze IPA. It's pretty tasty.
Ooh, I don't think I can even get Ballast Point in Texas. I haven't seen it since I've been out here. All right, Michael, are we deviating? Are we deviating from White Boy Summer?
Oh yeah, I gotta switch it up a little bit. I got a little revision, and I got a sparkling muffin.
Oh,
You see
I
that?
bet you say that to all the boys.
It's a cat.
oh, that's
Weird.
dope.
That is
Pretty
dope.
fucking tasty. And then I got a shot lined up of the,
Bullet
Bullet
tenure.
whatever.
We're fans.
Bullet
We
tenure.
stand the bullet tenure.
Ooh.
And last
That's
but not least, the resident ginger, the all-American murder machine himself. Kyle, what are you drinking?
Hazy IPA that's a pineapple.
I've had that before. That stuff's really good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am
You
drinking.
can try to eat pineapple beer. That's nice.
Dude,
Through
they're
the
nice.
candle.
Yeah. Through the
That sounds
candle,
like
as
good
Chris so lovingly calls it. So there is a place called Specs in Texas. It is so you can't get booze at a grocery store, which is a huge inconvenience when you live in a town that doesn't have a grocery store anyway. But just saying. So you have to go to like liquor stores, and there's a place called Specs. And the first time I walked in there, do you remember that part in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory? And he's like, "Come with me, and you'll be like." That's what it was like.
No.
Like, you open it up. There's this.
What?
There's a fucking humidor on the right for one. There's two, probably 35-foot long, 6-foot tall racks of just bourbon, both sides, scotch, whiskey, the whole 9 yards, right? Tequilas goes along the back, and then in the back is the beer section. So I got a bottle of Knob Creek that, I shit you not, is like this big for like $55.
Oh, I hate you.
It's so good. Yeah,
Oh, I hate
it's
you.
pretty
What
great.
is it? Deal.
And
Yeah, it is.
unfortunately, I'd go through that in like 2 weeks.
Well, that's because you're an alcoholic, Timmy.
Well, yeah, he is the youngest out of the group.
That's true. He is doing this other group.
You still got a
Yeah.
fully functioning liver, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At least half of one. They can replace the other half, right? Did you get a tune up on that thing? Okay. So anyway, now that we've gotten through that part, tell us the story of the Skyline. You and the Skyline, how you came to own the Skyline, what happened to the Skyline. I know you did a lot of work to the Skyline, because this story, from what Mike tells me, or Mark, as we're going to call him for the rest of the podcast, because he fucked up his name already. He says it's a sick story, and I don't know anything about it. I wanted to come into this like a fresh little child, not knowing what's going on. So tell me what's up. Lay it on me.
Well, shoot. So first of all, I guess I got to apologize. It's a very long-winded story. I bought the car back in 2012.
Okay.
But there's a little bit of lead up to it as to really how I came to find it and own it, and the brevity of it all. So I guess in early March of 2012, I had a R32 GT-R. It was a RB25 single turbo,
Rear-wheel drive, right?
rear-wheel drive.
Okay.
It had a 2A diff. It was basically a drift car. I had bought it from a pilot that I was stationed with. So I was living in Japan. I was stationed in Japan. I was in the Army. I was a helicopter crew chief on UH-60 Blackhawks. And so I had just
passingly. I fucking worked on helicopters. No big deal. Moving on.
I mean, that's like a different story, right? So that's like a totally different story.
Right.
But the reason why I was in Japan and how I came to live in Japan for so long was initially because I was in the Army. I was enlisted in the Army. And so I had just gotten stationed there. I was looking for a car. And one of the pilots that was in my unit, he was also a gearhead car guy, and he was looking to offload his 33 GT-ST because he was leaving Japan, and so it was like a good.
Is this the silver one
moment
I
of
see here in
opportunity.
the photos that you
Yes.
sent? Okay.
Yes. So that's it. As you can see, he had a lot of fun drifting it before I became a steward of it.
It's got some great wheels on it.
Yeah. And, so I really wish I parted out that car, looking back on hindsight. But
Yeah.
And so I bought this car, and I bought it for $1,800.
What?
And
What?
Hey, you gotta remember, it's
November-
2012 though.
no,
Doesn't
this is
matter.
I had bought it in November of 2011.
Yeah.
When I had first PCS there, right?
Just for reference, like if you were trying to get a Skyline in the States, not earlier than that. So I'm talking MotorX days, which I'm sure you guys know about MotorX, right? So if you they were the whole shit show that was MotorX, they were already charging like 15, 16 G's for GTSTs, and this is like 2006,
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
right? And he paid
to that, like I'm sure there were like in compliance or like they were advertised as in compliance spec.
That's okay. Yeah.
GTSTs. Right.
Enough of them got crushed where we know they're not in compliance.
Right. But I mean, I guess for the labor and the knowledge to do that, that's a pretty. I would say that would be a pretty good price for back in the day.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Off the streets of Japan, it was a dime a dozen. You could go down the street and find one selling for $2,000 at that time.
It's ridiculous.
And so like this one, he hooked me up. It was already to his drift spec, and what I did, I don't think I even changed a part on it in my ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
For $1,800.
So
For $1,800. And so like
Fuck.
it was just a drop in the bucket at that time, right?
I have people that buy windshields that cost $1,800.
Yup.
yeah.
My moldings on the GT-R that I just replaced cost more than that.
Oh my god, that hurt just to think about.
I'm sure Mike knows.
Oh
I'm
my
sure he's looked
god,
at the
dude!
price
Like
list.
we'll get to that story, but I know his pain. The things that I've watched go through the roof in the past 6 months, dude. Like the coolant reservoir, the washer reservoir, the plastic fan, at least doubled in the past 6 months, if not tripled in price.
Is that because that idiot parked that boat in the Suez Canal? You think that has anything to do with it?
Could be.
No, it's been a long time coming, really. But
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about that in a second.
It was.
So I bought it in November of 2011. Fast forward to about March of 2012. I'm in the mountains, just northwest of Tokyo, doing some toge with my boys. Toge, for those who don't know, is drifting, not drifting, but grip.
I'm fun.
Mountain racing. Yeah.
They were doing dumb stuff. And as
nothing to know about that.
sometimes you do dumb stuff. I crashed this R33 and I had fucked up the steering, and so I couldn't drive it home. We were 500 kilometers away from our base, which is like
300 and something miles.
300 miles.
Yeah.
We'll just call it 300 miles, like a long distance.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to, cause it too much of a big stink because we were doing hoonigan shit. So I called a junkyard that was really close, that a Japanese friend who was with us just so happened to know. He's like, they'll pick it up, junk it for you. They'll give you the paperwork, make it legit. And so you could just say that the car died on the mountain, you were far away, and so it's junk.
Scrapped
it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
Scrapped it. And
Yeah.
like no police report, and so that's what I did. And so
Sick.
I basically threw this R33 GTST away with all the parts on it. I think I took off some intake piping that I sold to the people that we were driving with. And so still on the mountain, it was being vultured off a little bit and I sold off.
This man literally
I could.
threw it in the gutter and went and got another with fucking skylines.
Yep.
That's kind of how it was.
Some big
back then.
dick
This is
energy, my friend.
2011.
Yeah.
Started it out on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Some most fucking gangster shit.
Savage.
Don't get me wrong. I was mortified. Like I was at a loss.
Yeah, but
right?
what do you do right in that situation? It's like
I get on my computer that weekend and I go on GooNet, which was the used car exchange, and I start looking for a 32 GT-R because I thought it was a good excuse. Shit, I crashed my R33. What did I always wanted to get when I was in Japan? And that was a 32 GT-R. And so that's what I just typed it in, searched up, and this car came up just down the road from the base that I was stationed at. So I walked there like that weekend.
I bought
I
it.
saw it and I test drove it like just maybe 200 meters down the road. Brought it back, told them, we could arrange for a price, but I need you to hold this car until Monday because it was like a Saturday, right? So I
Right.
couldn't come up with the money because, Bitcoin wasn't at what it was now, and
Right.
all the banks were closed, and so there's no way for me to get cash. And so I'm like, just hold this car for me until Monday, and I will come with cash first thing, and then we'll handle the price. I mean, like, it was a modified car. It was a one owner car. The owner previous to me bought it new, and modified it to like be a street track car, and so it was already pushing a little bit of power and had some upgrades on it. And so it was pretty much perfect for what I wanted to kind of do, and it was just like a good progression forward for the car as well, in its life, through the previous owner's hands to mine.
That's so sick, dude. So
I bought it for what amounted to $10,257.
fucking podcast over. I don't ever want to talk to you again. Go away. It's fucking ridiculous. You paid 10 grand for a fucking 30. I get this was 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, and it had 430 wheel horsepower.
That's fucking
A
crazy.
welded cage. Yeah.
That's so sick, dude.
And so they think they wanted like closer to 12, but I don't know. I haggled them down with just straight up cash, like no.
Speaks, man. Cash speaks.
Yeah.
Everyone knows historically the Japanese are weak negotiators. I'm kidding. I don't have any historical background. I have no historical basis for that comment.
Damn it.
They're good
Literally.
stonewallers. They're good.
Oh, I
stonewallers.
believe that. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he said no. It's no.
They do this sucking teeth thing that like you can't get through. Like if you're negotiating with one, and like.
I used to play poker with a couple of Japanese dudes, and that was like you know what I mean? You're playing Hold'em or whatever, and you check raise, and they go for like a minute straight, bro. It's like, how big are your lungs, dog? You know what I mean? Like cigarette hanging out of the mouth. Just...
Oh, it's burning the entire time they're doing that.
It's just, yeah, but it's those charcoal cigarettes. They last forever. It's crazy. So okay, so it was sort of built, pretty built, 430 wheel, right?
That's decent.
Okay, I mean, and then it had a cage in it.
It had upgraded Nismo injectors, Spitfire coils. I think they were like really old HKS turbos.
Sick.
It had an N1 block. It was pretty.
That's
built.
a pretty that's like a pretty breathed on.
But I mean, like if you're talking like in terms of Japan standard, that was
mild,
medium to mild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Because it was only putting out 430 horsepower.
I feel like the thing with
1.2 bar, and so that was
so that's 19 psi, 19
something like that. Yeah.
I know math, guys, because like the thing about Japanese tuners, especially like in that post 90s, mid 2000 ish, whatever, is like, you have the tip of the spear guys. You have your, your Smoky Nagatas and stuff, who are just like, we're going to make 200 plus horse. Exactly. Top secret, baby. We're going to make 200 horsepower Supras with V12s in them and turbos. Cause I'm Smoky fucking Nagata.
Yeah.
But it like, that's like I don't know, like it kind of it increases the average. It drives the average like modification level of a car up a lot, right? Because what's that?
Well, yeah.
Sorry. No, sorry. I didn't mean that.
No. But it's just a thing of like there's a high level of tuning in Japan. There kind of always has been for decades, right? So
you need to let him finish his story.
I want to hear the story, yeah.
Because that what you just said
ties in. Okay, all right. I'll shut up. Dad told me to shut up and watch the movie.
Shut up.
Sorry, Mark.
Calm down, Mark.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Mark and his fucking Ultima, I can't.
Hey, you know what the best part is you will ride that Ultima any fucking day of the week.
Every single, there's not much that anybody won't do in the passenger seat of that Ultima. Let me tell
Pretty much. Pretty much.
We can't be
Anyway,
mad at Ultima.
sorry. SCR, baby.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead.
Let the man talk about his story, because it does get better. Trust me.
So I bought it in March. immediately, start bagging the piss out of it. Me and my buddies in the mountains. I think some of the pictures that I showed you are like from like Yabitsu, I think is what they're labeled. So Yabitsu is a Toge mountain road not too far from where I was stationed at, and it's pretty popular. I think it's in one of the initial D episodes.
I believe that.
With the wooden tower.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, let me see if I can find it.
And so like that was our home course, if you will, before we started getting on the track. I remember countless nights, getting off after work or flying a late flight and, just going straight up into the mountains and, just bagging on the car for a few hours, really getting to know it. Because my plan was always to, track it and to use it for what it was built for and what the previous owner, had improved upon. So, a lot of seat time up in those mountains there.
It's so sick, dude.
It's awesome.
Fall of that year, me and my buddies, and so like I had a group of buddies that were kind of going upon the same kind of path, just getting to Japan, buying GTSTs or GT-Rs or other Supras, Chasers, RX-7s, FDs, whatever, just
Chaser boys. Anyway,
there was a pretty good variety of vehicles, throughout the years, and we all like just sent it, right? either up in the mountains or in the tracks, like we were all about it, and that was great. It was good energy. And so that fall of 2012, we got hooked up with some private organizations that organize track sessions over at Scuba Circuit in Japan. It's a little, it's pretty famous circuit as well. Personal favorite.
If you've ever fucking played Gran Turismo in your entire life, you better fucking know where the fuck that is.
or the old Forza games that used to have it before they had licensing issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like we did a bunch of events there, and from there I started modifying the car to kind of improve upon my time. So the first time I was out in Scuba, it was pretty good for the tires that I was on. I was on the Dunlop Dureza Z1 Star Specs at the time, and to give you an idea of people say this or that about that tire, the Dureza Z tires, we'll call them, since it's 1, 2, and 3 now. About how good or not good they are on the track. I think they are amazing on the track. I've run consistent hot laps on them, and while they do get greasy, the grip hold is pretty good. And so I've always run them. I'll probably continue to run them as long as they continue to be good. But from there, I had blown a rear turbo. I had replaced the turbos myself with HKS GTSS turbos, which took like 6 weeks, to be honest.
I've heard that nightmare. I've heard those nightmare stories.
I mean, I know that RBs are like, they can be difficult to work on. I've heard that before. And like anybody I've ever known who ever like RB swapped like a 240 is like, this shit barely fits in here. And it's a giant pain in the ass if anything goes sideways. You know what I mean? So is it the same on a GTR? Is it that bad to kind of work on in that area, or?
It's really not that bad. But once you start modifying parts and not all of them work in the same kind of concert together. And so the dimensions start getting a little out of whack with, things that can't move in the car, like the strut power bulges and the firewall and whatnot. In my case, and this is a little embarrassing, it was the exhaust manifold studs. So they were pretty old. And so when I took them off, when I took the turbo exhaust manifolds off, I realized that either they were really weak and they were like just like a cunt hair of metal like attached to it, or they were just completely like broken off.
Was that a red-haired cunt hair or a black hair? Because the red hairs are the thinnest one. Everybody knows.
It was I think it was a black one. We'll go with
it was a black one, a little bigger. Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
But it had taken me a few weeks to extract the broken ends of the studs out of the head without, having to take the motor out or the head out. So like the motor was just still in the car, and that was probably my first mistake.
So you ended up muscle fucking it for 6 weeks instead of just pulling the engine and being done with it.
Oh no!
I'm a bit of a stubborn bitch. But I've made that mistake twice more, and I've cut down the time from 6 weeks to like 2 days. So I think we're doing good. We're doing
good
good.
Change. Yeah.
That's a solid improvement right there.
That's a solid lap time decrease right there. Well done.
Right. So
drill bits.
I feel like I'm dragging the story along.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's 4.
So me and my buddies were tracking our cars, and at the same time we're going out to Daikoku, which is a famous parking area. I'm sure the speed hunters, if you're ever,
I'm gonna bring it up and if you've ever looked at a Speed Hunters fucking article in Japan,
dream to go to, no doubt, hands down. Like if I could spend a week in Japan and live at that spot for a week, yes. Please.
And this is you and just for the record, this is you and Magnus at Daikoku, isn't it?
I think I can't see.
Oh no, this is Tatsumi. Yeah, this is Tatsumi.
But I think me and Magnus were at Tatsumi. He was also there at Daikoku with that replica Porsche, the 277, and that pistachio colored Porsche that's also in that pictures that I sent you guys. Just a little tidbit, because I really need to point out about that pistachio colored Porsche. That is one of the only narrowed bodied RWB Porsches ever made. And it's a very interesting, very intricate spec, and I love it. I love that car. Every time I saw it, I drooled over
looking at what you're looking at, but I think I watched the video of him making that car, being the only narrow-bodied one. Does he have
a video of that? I didn't even know.
He's made all kinds of videos.
So this is not the 277 it's next to, right? Because I know Magnus has a few. He has a few of them. They're kind of scattered in places that he likes to go drive. I know that he kind of keeps.
No, they're all replicas. So they're all replicas built by fans. And so this
all
one's
of
also
them?
a replica. Yeah, built by a Porsche specific shop that's also a big fan of Magnus, which is why
sick.
he was over in Japan at the time.
That's so gangster. Imagine just. Anyway, I'm not going to get into Magnus Walker and how prolific of a fucking influence that dude is on Porsche culture globally and car culture in general.
That man can fucking drive.
Yeah, dude. He can wheel. And he looks like Rob Zombie, which is rad.
Yeah. His beard just looks so bad.
That's that one dreadlock that he has. That one, I feel like it's 9 foot long because he's just in an okay, first of all, he's just a giant man that drives little old Porsches. You know what I mean? In combat boots with dreads that feel like they barely fit in the car. He's awesome. He's I don't know. If you don't love Magnus Walker, you shouldn't. You don't like cars. Sorry. Anyway.
I should say throughout the entire time. So I lived in Japan for a total of 9.5 years, from November of 2011 to July of last year, 2020.
Oh shit! You just got back.
Yeah, so I just moved back last year, in the midst of all this coronavirus craziness, and that was an interesting thing.
I can only imagine.
But from 2011 to 2015, 16, I would say I lived at Daikoku and Tatsumi, on the Wangan, on the C1, in the mountains.
You had every JDM kid's wet dream, right? You lived as a kid.
I didn't want to let go of it, right? And that's why I guess I was there for almost.
Why would you listen? I mean, I've always been a Japanese car kid. Always, when I was really, really young, my stepdad was into, he's I like shooting guns and riding dirt bikes, and we go, and he was a muscle car guy, right? This is what it was. The guys next door, the guys next to him they ran a chassis shop for, lowriders and all that kinds of stuff. And so I just grew up around a lot of muscle cars. First, real fast car I ever drove was a 600 horsepower Mustang that the guy down the shop next door used to own, right? Which was cool. He let me drive it in a parking lot. And he's like, if you kill yourself, it's your fault. I was like, fair enough. Anyway. And
I like the man's style.
You'll
Yeah.
learn today.
you gonna learn today.
Learn today.
But like to my
Darwinism.
point, I grew up playing Gran Turismo, right? Like I grew up playing Gran Turismo. I grew up playing Forza. I grew up playing Midnight Club, which was not like a real, or like a Tokyo Extreme Racer, right? Which was like the shit. And then Fast and the Furious came out, and it was like a whole thing, right? And so you end up, and watching option videos and all that kinds of shit, and you just kind of like become enamored with this culture that feels so close because we have some of the same looking cars, but is so alien because the ones we got were never as good, and the ones you really wanted we never got. And
Right.
there's just a vibe about Japan that you can't capture in the States,
You can't replicate. Yeah. You
Yeah.
Can't replicate.
And like growing up in LA, like we had mountain culture, we had canyon runs, we have GMR and Azusa and all that stuff. And there's a parallel, but correct me if I'm wrong. There had to be something. I'm sure you had a moment where you're on the mountain and you're thinking like, this is the mountain that Takami's whole life is based off of. And I'm in my R32 and I'm in Japan and like, holy fucking shit, this is sick. Like, I'm sure that moment like hit.
There are so many moments. Because like honestly, I came to that realization so many times while I was doing honestly all this cool shit. It's kind of hard for me not to sound like an asshole about it. Like this is some cool shit that I was.
It's
able to
fucking
do.
cool, dude. Like, yeah.
No, fuck no.
Oh, we all want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at telling this story yet. Because honestly, this is probably the first time I've. Told
You're
the
doing a
whole
great
thing.
job. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sold. Like, let's write a
Yeah.
script. I want to see a movie. Let's fucking
Yeah.
do it.
No,
Movie.
just so we're all like,
It's like The Last Samurai, but with GTRs. I'm in. Let's go.
We could call it the last Wangan race. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
all right.
Oh,
Zack
no,
Snyder, are you listening?
it's that.
Hollywood.
I was just talking to a friend of mine who's still in Japan and who's also was in my car group. If you really pay attention to some of the pictures and some of the video, the midnight purple 33 GT-R
33, I saw
that
that.
you see, he's a good friend of mine. I've known him since I got to Japan. He's an American guy from Alabama, old school. He's like older. He's probably like 55 right now.
Fuck
A
yeah.
little older gentleman, but like he's still a huge gearhead, and he just sends it right. He's still about that old school life, and so me and him are really good friends. And I was talking to him yesterday, and he said the Wangan, the C1, Tatsumi, Daikoku, all that, it's not what it used to be. Like he's been trying to see different types of, like, if different groups went elsewhere, they migrated, but like it's just completely died out, and it's really
Sad.
not what it used to be. And so we were reminiscing the other night, and so like I guess it's good timing that I'm talking to you guys about it.
Hell yeah.
It's
Wow.
not what it is. Apparently, it's not what it used to be.
Well, I know that like a lot of other types of car culture is funny in the sense that you always want what's in your neighbor's backyard, right? Like, so like I was always, so like growing up in LA as a Honda kid, right? The badge swaps were the thing, right? You take the Acura RSX Type S and you put the Honda
Integra,
Honda
yeah.
Integra Type R badges on it, whatever.
Yep.
And then I was like, I mean, I guess I get it, but it's like $400 for badges. And then I was on Speed Hunters and I'm looking and it's like they're USDM swapping their stuff over there. And I'm like, well, this is dumb,
Yeah.
right? So
Japanese love American car
shit.
culture.
And like I know lowrider culture is getting really big out there and like that kind of shit, right?
It's been
Yeah.
huge.
So
They
it's
have
like
a huge, like something called Moon Eyes that like is
Yeah.
hammered, and they do some crazy stuff with their American custom cars. Like they do they're doing their own stuff,
Mhm.
and they're like it's
Yeah,
like
they're
an
going with
evolution on what us here in the States have done to our own cars. And like it's crazy because you kind of see that mirrored with people doing their own GTR builds in the States now, and trying other things that Japanese tuners don't.
And it's like you look at like Bosuzoku, right? Which is like the most obnoxious form of modifying vehicles. And I love it so much because it's so dumb and it serves no purpose. But it's like, hey, bro, look at my lip. It's 4 feet long. Look at it.
I have one thing to say about those motherfuckers. And it's fuck those motherfuckers.
Fuck those motherfuckers. I want to know why. Give me the inside scoop.
Okay, so and actually it gets back into the story a little bit. So during the time of I'm living out every night or every other night down in Daikoku on the Wangan. Wangan is the famous
The fucking Wangan,
Yeah.
Haneda Tunnel. And so me and my group, we're chilling in Daikoku, and I think it's a Saturday. It's probably a Saturday. There's a lot of us, and Daikoku's getting shut down because the minivans that are blasting bass over by the vending machines are making too much noise, right? And they're bothering the 18-wheeler truck guys who are trying to sleep in the parking area.
Okay.
So those truckers call the police, and the police station's right in Daikoku.
Okay.
Right. And so the cops just shut down the entrance, then get on their PA and say, like, basically, motherfuckers, go home. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Stay here.
Yeah. And so everybody basically funnels out of Daikoku in one go. And so now you have this mixture of vehicles and personalities, bozo bikes, Wangan racer, high-speed dudes, the drift dudes, the slam dudes, the dudes in the minivan, like everybody's there. Then you got the dudes with the anime, like, and everyone's just like kind of like funneling out of Daikoku. And it's like Daikoku's a spiral in, down, and a spiral out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as it so happens, these bozo bikes, and it's a gang of them, like maybe
they squad,
100?
bro. Stupid
100,
haircuts and all,
This had to be back in like 2013, 2014, because they were rolling deep, like 100, 200 deep.
Mhm.
And they mobbed the highway going towards Tatsumi and on the Wangan going towards Tokyo from Yokohama and Daikoku. And we're behind them, us and our gang. And they're literally covering 4 lanes in this 5-lane one-way highway, like going the direction highway.
Sick.
It just blocked it off, slowed it down, and just like like singing the Japanese national anthem, right? Only letting one lane of traffic by at a time, right? And everyone slowed down, right? And so it took us like maybe 20 minutes to get to the front of them.
Jeez.
Right? And me and my buddy Thomas, he's the guy in the Midnight Purple 33. We kind of think the same way, and so we're like, man, fuck these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And so we get to the front of these bozos, instead of just driving on by and being on our way to Tatsumi, which is where we're going, and which is where we'll probably see them again. Mm-hmm. I think either he was in front of me or I was behind me, like it was one of the way. And so we just simultaneously, as soon as we get to the front of the pack, just pop our both GTRs. And like we were going slow, so we were already in second gear, and we just boost and just leave them in a cloud of just turbo smoke, right?
Yeah.
And this is the long gun, and there's no one in front of us because they've slowed
blocking
it down.
traffic,
Yeah.
And so we second, third, fourth, fifth gear, and just fucking jet off on them and just leave their leader who's in the front, just like in a cloud of turbo dust and GTR smoke. It was funny, but
so like just for anybody who listens to this shit and doesn't know, listen, first of all, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know what the fuck he's talking about when he says Wangan and all that, one, we appreciate you. 2, please educate yourself. Google the Wangan, Google the Midnight Club, 2 words, right? Like midnight club, not midnight club. Look it up. There's a crazy amount of cool underground automotive history there, and some really sick motherfuckers with some fast ass cars that had a code, right? They weren't just fucking idiots. To your point, you got the bozos blocking traffic. That's like dudes who do takeovers on the freeway these days.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And sideshows and shit. They don't have, these dudes were like, nah, nobody gets hurt. And then somebody got hurt, and then they stopped fucking racing altogether.
So funny you mentioned them and their rules, because there is still something, or there was something reminiscent of that, of a certain group of car dudes that resided over at Tatsumi. And I don't know how educated you guys are on Tatsumi. That's kind of I don't know how known that is. Do you guys know?
I don't know a ton about it, so please educate me.
Okay, so Tatsumi is a parking area. It's much smaller in size to Daikoku. It's basically just maybe like 50 parking spots.
Okay.
But it's just right off the Wangan once you get across the Tokyo Bay. Like so the Tokyo Bay has Rainbow Bridge, it's pretty famous.
Yeah.
And so one of the first exits just right off that in like a suburb of Tokyo is called Tatsumi. So it's a straight PA, then it jets out onto the C1, which loops back around through Tokyo, back onto the Rainbow Bridge, and back into Tatsumi. And so it's a good loop if you're someone who's into that, right? Circuit racing. And I'm not quite sure. I never really asked any of the gentlemen that were part of that group. But like it seemed like they were kind of running the same kind of code as the old Midnight Club. They were called the R9, which meant that they lapped the C1 from Tatsumi back over to Tatsumi in 9 minutes. So that's basically running a lap of Tokyo in 9 minutes.
That's fucking
crazy. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact kilometer. You might have to do that on Google Map to check it out. But it's a good stretch of road, and I mean to do that in 9 minutes, you have to be a fucking madman.
Let's be honest here. Like you don't name your car club after how fast you can do a route unless it's fast as fuck, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be.
That's a fucking solid ass point. I mean.
So it's like a double entendre because that route is also called R9.
See, genius.
So it's like, oh yeah, that's a pretty. I mean, to do 9 minutes on Route 9, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to do R9? Round 9.
9.
Round 9.
And so in those pictures that I sent you guys, I think they're labeled like Tatsumi or Tatsumi Nights. There's a black Porsche with martini livery.
Yes, I just had that photo. Yeah. Oh, dude.
That Porsche does that C1 loop in 9 minutes or probably less. Probably.
Jesus.
That's so fucking clean.
I tried following that man one night on the C1.
And he said, "Fuck you."
Oh.
I stayed with him for a little bit, but like at a certain point, like I knew I was driving outside of my comfort level for the road, for a public road.
And he just didn't give a fuck.
I mean, he's been driving it for so long, he knows it like the back of his hand. So I don't know. I can't speak to
his mindset, but
yeah,
that's fucking tight. So okay, so here we are.
So
you got the 32. You got the 32. It's 430. It's got a roll cage in it. You're running. You're doing mountains. You're going to Daikoku. You're doing the whole thing. What happens next?
Porsche, Jesus.
And so one night, this is in 2013. This is 2013, fall of 2013. It's a nice crisp fall night in Tokyo. My girlfriend, now wife, she's having a good time with a friend of hers in downtown. They're at a club. She asked me to pick her up, at a ungodly hour, like in advance. She's like, I'm going to call you when I'm drunk. Probably like around 3:00. My wife's Japanese, but she still gets drunk like, American wives do.
Right.
But anyway.
No idea what you mean. Couldn't.
None of us can tell you that.
Couldn't tell you at all what that means.
She at least had the courtesy to let me know in advance that she would be drunk calling me to pick her up in Tokyo, at an ungodly hour. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's, Friday night or Saturday night. I really forget the specific of the day. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just go to Tokyo and be driving the highways like I usually do in the 32. And then, when you call me up, I'll come by because it's right there. Right. The highway to Tokyo, like not too much. Anyway, so I'm chilling at Tatsumi with these crazy dudes and these pair of R35s which I'd recognized as top secret tuned cars, roll up to Tatsumi, and it's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning now. And also this dude in a white Supra, European dude, and so that's what caught my eye. And so they all parked kind of semi together, which indicated to me that they were maybe rolling together from Daikoku or from wherever they were. Anyway, I don't know. I had a good set of balls on me. I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" I chatted them up. I started talking to the dude in the Supra, and he seemed pretty about it. Like, I don't know. I asked him like kind of specific questions of whether or not he ran the Wangan a lot or where he's from. Like, there wasn't a lot of like, "Hey, I want to race you." There was more like, "Hey, how crazy are you?" So I'm going to ask these kind of questions to see.
They fill you out, right?
Yeah, like
if you're with the shit
like
or not, right? Like, are you with the shit or are you not with the shit?
Yeah.
So I guess I should add some context to this vague conversation, because I don't. I'll be honest, I don't really remember exactly like what was said or how we got to where we were later on. But like the way it goes, or at least the way I remember it, is like there was no, "Hey, we're gonna run from 40 kilometers an hour to 220 kilometers an hour, see who gets there fastest." It was more of a, "Hey, we're all going to roll down the road. Then, as soon as somebody or anybody feels like dropping gear and going, we'll all just go until we don't have the balls on the accelerator anymore." You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Isn't this like,
Yeah.
wasn't that's like Lost Boys, right? With the dirt bikes, that's like, we're just going to fucking run until somebody punks out. You know?
And
Whoever's a punk out wins. Perfect.
I know that kind of seems like a fantasy way to say it, but like, yeah.
Well, no, like, listen, when it's just a bunch of car guys around each other and it's like you feel like it's nighttime, you're having fun, you feel like you own the road, like, you just fucking do whatever. Like, there was a canyon down south called Carbon Canyon, and it was like really dead through a neighborhood, and it wasn't even really a canyon. It was like a 2-mile run, but it was pretty quick with a cool hairpin. And it was like a 30-mile drive to get there through just a pretty dead part of Southern California. And yeah, it's like, me and my 240, a dude in an S2000, a kid in his dad's Lotus, just pisses me off. And next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're all on the road and it's like, well, we're all doing 130 miles an hour because fucking, just what happens when you get a bunch of cars together. So it doesn't sound made up to me at all. It seems perfectly normal thing to fucking happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, "Hey, you guys
And
want to go on a drive after this? We can."
We're going to run them, right? You go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it wasn't really like a dick measuring contest. Like, "Hey, I'm faster than you," or I know I'm faster than you, I'm going to show you. It's more like just
fucking having
a
fun.
bunch of dudes who like too much speed.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how we got to this. And so that night, I was by myself, which it's kind of like snowboarding in the backcountry. You never do it by yourself. You never go over landing by yourself. You never do any.
Yeah.
You never go to the Wangan by yourself.
Right.
Because there was no one to talk me out of rolling with these dudes to Umi Hotaru. It's called Umi Hotaru. It's another PA that's actually stationed. It's like literally in the middle of Tokyo Bay.
Okay.
And so to get there, there's a tunnel. It's about 12 kilometers. It's called the
tunnel is 12 kilometers?
Yes.
Damn.
And so it's also
Bruh.
famous by Smokey Nagata. If you guys
Oh, okay.
remember, I think it was in his Supra, not the V12 Supra, but the 2JZ Supra that or his 33 that's famous that you see him smoking. Oh yeah, it was R32 GT-R, the gold one.
Always smoking all the tires.
Smoking all the tires to the tunnel. That tunnel.
Yeah.
And so
That tunnel
from
is 12
Tatsumi-
kilometers long.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
so
my
from
son's once again,
Tatsumi,
but-
we head back on the Wangan towards that because it's just outside of Yokohama or in between Tokyo and Yokohama. And so we head on the Wangan, and I'm following these two I'm pretty sure one was 800 horsepower. The other one was 1,000 horsepower, top secret tuned R35 GT-Rs. One was white. The other one was a dark marine blue. And this big ass single turbo wide body Supra driven by this crazy Russian dude, turns out. And so it's the four of us. And we're going down the Wangan and we're just cruising, whatever. But as soon as we head on the on-ramp to the Aqualine, these 35s just get it and they're out. And me and this dude in the Supra are dropping gear, trying to keep up with these two guys. And that has a lot to be said about the quickness of the R35 and really dual clutch transmissions. Is like I could be sitting next to one in third gear, which is a boost gear for me, like at boost RPM.
Yep.
He could drop 2 gears before I could drop 1 gear and be at the same level. He's super gone.
Was it a bright blue R35?
I wouldn't say it was a bright blue. It was like a strange, deep metallic blue.
Oh, I think I just found it.
It wasn't too bright. It's a pretty famous.
Yeah, I think I just found it.
Nowadays. I'm pretty good acquaintances with. I keep in touch with him. Pretty the crazy dude. So okay. So and the reason why he calls me crazy. So these two R35s, it's a two lane tunnel. They get off and we're following them or trying to, right? And this wide body Supra, he's got a lot more power than me. I think he had like 800 horsepower or something like that, and I'm still with 430, and so I'm getting lagged behind, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still in 5th gear, doing 320 kilometers an hour.
Fuck me, dude.
So I'm getting left behind.
Which,
my God,
that's fucking nuts. But real talk, and this is something that like I don't know how hard you've driven the 33 yet, Mike. Like I know you've gotten on it like around town and taken it to a canyon, but I don't know like if you've ever tried to like top it out.
It does top out because it's limited. It's still on the factory.
The factory
ECU.
limited.
So like when Kyle and I ran it, like I kept with him until it hit that, and then he was gone.
So my question is that like everything I've ever heard about Skylines, whether it be 32s to 34s, because 35s are GTRs, let's be nerds here, is that they're just ridiculously stable. They're very composed. They're very well put together. When you're hammering on it 5th gear topped out in a modified 32, what did it feel like?
It didn't feel like I was going that fast. I had to look down at the speedo to realize, and only then, like that I was like, oh shit, I'm doing like 200 miles, close to 200 miles an hour.
Damn.
Dude, it's no joke.
This is probably the stupid part of me is that I didn't lift at that point. I just kept going, trying to fucking keep up with these guys that I was.
Like you're gonna magically catch up. Like they're gonna get slower somehow, right? You're gonna fucking.
There's secret NOS in there. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift song is gonna turn on like magically. I'm be fine.
Hell yeah!
You're gonna find like 6 more gears.
Oh man.
Nope. I had a injector failure in the 4th and 6th injector, which grenaded my motor, which
at almost 200 miles an hour.
Which blew out, I think, the 3rd, 4th, and 6th cylinder walls.
Holy shit!
I'm
bringing them up right now.
And the drive shafts.
200 miles per hour?
Don't do that's racist. You can't do that.
That's what's up.
Holy shit! There's a hole in the side of the block, dog.
So that's an M1 block, right?
Dude, no. The best photo is literally the fucking carnage in the fuck. Is that the after you split the what is that? Split the case or the oil pan?
Yeah, that's so
pan with all the bits and pieces in it.
Yeah, that's the engine upside down with the oil pan taken out with what you can't discern piston, connecting rod, or bits of camshaft or crankshaft.
Yeah.
You destroyed it.
That makes my fucking heart hurt, dude. Holy dog.
And so I'm not quite sure. I remember it really vividly, that the moment in time in which it blew up, in which I realized that something had happened, but I can't remember a big boom.
Yeah.
And so like my mind didn't quite make the connection that, especially that like my front diff and my drive shafts were now blown out. I because
Like,
I
that could have gone
I-
so bad. That could have gone so bad.
I instinctively knew to maybe take it out of gear, but like
Not
the
funny,
dumb
but it's
part of
funny.
me, yeah. Then I tried to put it back in, because then when I realized my mistake, I was like, no, that's a terrible idea. What am I doing? I tried to put it back into gear, and there was like, and that's when I knew that like my drive shafts were fucked, because it did one of this, but somehow stayed straight. Like and then I just let it. I just held on and I coasted to a stop.
That's fucking terrifying.
And
Little
then all
bit.
the smoke came out and just
But
like
I like all of that is like in a split second, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. It's like
it feels like an eternity.
your heart probably legitimately stopped, and you don't like. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like that's fucking. Oh my god. Okay, so the engine. So now we're at an impasse, right? Now we have
Right now we're in BAS.
32 halfway shredded drivetrain, fully shredded motor. What does Leonard do?
Take it to the scrap yard and drop it off.
Throw it in the gutter and go get another.
Yeah. No. No. I was pretty keen on keeping this 32. So, just a little bit of history on this particular 32 at this particular junction. It's an 89.
Sick.
It's number 3,331 off the line. It's also a TH1. I guess we'll get to in a little bit. So at this point in time in the story, it was Bayside Blue TV2, legitimate BNR 34 blue, which is why I bought it. But TH1 is one of the rarer colors for the 32.
Okay.
And at the time that I bought the car, I had no idea that was even a thing.
Okay.
Or was I thinking that way? It just so it just just
That was the car you wanted. That was the color it was, and that was it. Yeah.
But I looked at the VIN and it said TH1. I'm like, oh wow, I wonder what that color is. And dark. I think it's got some crazy name to it, but it's dark metallic blue or whatever. Anyway, I don't know how I was getting to it, but I guess I just wanted to give some history to it.
Well, you were talking about how like the engine blew, and at this point,
Yeah. So you're like in full on
right.
rebuild mode, right? Like this is
Right,
what
yeah.
do we do? What's the end game with the car now, right? Like if you ever
I didn't want to throw it away like the R33, right?
who needs an Ultima anyway, right?
So one of my friends that I was rolling with, or a few of my friends that I was rolling with, they had a lot of money, and a few of them had gotten some work done by Smokey at Top Secret.
Oh
Particularly
shit, dog.
a friend of mine, but an R35 that he imported from America because he was also in government work.
Okay.
So he already had an R35, and so he imported it from the U.S. when he got stationed for his civilian job in Japan, and it was flowing with cash because that's how civilians are over there. And so he went to Top Secret and he developed a good relationship with Smokey and the management over there. But then through the course of luck and stuff, one of my other friends who was also tracking his GT-R, 32 GT-R at Scuba with me, he blew up his motor at Scuba at one of our track events and had Top Secret and Smokey rebuild him an engine. And so when I blew up my engine, it was kind of like oh, well, I guess
All the cool kids are doing it.
all of us are going to go, to Smokey for a new engine. And, it seemed like, oh yeah, that's the obvious thing to do. But I debated it a little bit because honestly, I knew going to a place like Top Secret, that name carries a price in it in and of its own.
Yeah,
right? A little
for
bit.
sure.
And you kind of got to
Sure.
buy into it a little bit. At the time, I was having another GT-R shop, 3H. It's a little one man shop in Kanagawa Prefecture in Japan, right by where I was living at. He's a GT-R master mechanic. Worked for Trust and BR and Nismo itself.
So
And
big fucking names in the game for sure.
Yeah, and so he just runs a little shop, and my buddy Thomas with the Midnight Purple 33, he had introduced me to him because he's got some family connection with him. I don't really know. It's a deep, intricate story,
Right.
like,
In and of
we could talk
itself,
about
I'm sure.
it. But he was backed up, and so he couldn't build me an engine. I wanted him to build it. He couldn't rebuild me an engine for another 3 months. But Top Secret just so happened to have some space, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could fit you in right before Tokyo Auto Salon, 2014." And
I'm gonna need you to pause for just a second. Are you gonna sit here and tell me dead to my face that Top Secret was your backup plan?
Legitimately, yes. I did not. I
That's the biggest fucking flex I've ever heard in person. Well done, sir. Like,
Hey,
that
there
takes
he
the cake.
is.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I really want to get this guy to do it, but I settled for Top fucking Secret.
I don't mean it that way.
I know you don't, but I'm just saying, like, if I would have had it my way, this other guy would have built my engine instead.
Yeah, because I mean, he would have built it for a little bit less probably, because
Right,
I
for
already
sure.
had a good relationship with him. He still did a lot of the suspension and transmission work in the car.
Okay.
He's like a huge master in that.
I'm
but
sure
anyway,
he's the
yeah.
shit. Like, you don't strike me as the dude who like half steps with fucking anything. So like, I can't imagine that you would take your car to somebody who wasn't going to do good work. It's just
I
like,
think you give me a little bit too much credit. I'm a mechanic in myself, so I half step my own shit sometimes. To be honest.
It's fine. I take my shit to Cheap Charlie's where they don't put oil in their cars.
Oof. I don't know about all that.
he also buys $500 wheels for his fucking 2019 S4. So,
Oh my god, I haven't even used them yet.
only
for a
because I
year.
shamed you out of it. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, they're winter wheels.
Oh, I go with
In
my
California.
backup plan, I guess.
Right? Yeah. I called Smokey and said, "Hey, I know you're not doing shit. Build me."
Right. And so really, so the car was making 430 horsepower at
Okay.
the wheels at 1.2 bar at previously in that motor that I blew up. And my goal was always to be for it to be more about response than about power necessarily, because it's a track car. Like the car is already set up to be a track car. It's set up very well to be a
you
track
want
car.
you want a flat power curve, right? You want like a consistent, flat, accessible power curve for sure.
Right. And so that's really where the focus was in the build. And so luckily, and I guess luckily, I guess I say luckily, but not really. Sorry,
No, you're good.
I'm being real, because I wanted an N1 block, but at the time, just the way Nissan and Nismo were making their new N1 blocks, they weren't readily available, and so like.
I don't know what is an N1 block. Is that like a Nismo block?
N1 block is a Nismo block. It's racing block. It's a little bit more fortified, just in its like.
So imagine like a IAG Stage 5, something similar. Like it's gonna be beefed up. It's a little bit thicker. Well, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's a little bit thicker. Honestly, not that much different than a regular RB26 block. It's just got better cooling for the oil and water flows for the turbos. But that could be made by a good machine shop on a stock block, to be honest.
Yep.
And which is coincidentally exactly what Smokey told me when he said that, hey, there's no new N1 blocks, but I do have this already kind of built RB26 block that I have that's I've done personally, it's still the stock displacement, but we could hone it out to 87 millimeters and make it a 2.7 liter motor, and that will really serve to be what you want in response. And fair enough. I was like, yeah, I guess a regular RB26 block, magically massaged by Smokey Nagata to 2.7 liters is something that I could do with instead of a regular N1 block. To humble brag.
Is the N1 block a 2.8?
No,
Or is this all 2.6 also?
it's still the same displacement as the regular 05U block. So the 05U block, it has that stamp 05U, and it's called the 24U, which is the N1 block. If we're getting into specifics.
Sorry, too many questions about things I don't know about.
No, you're ask the questions, man. That's good.
Yeah.
I've gone down some of this rabbit hole. Trust me, it's
Yeah, and it's really we could talk forever about it.
Not
So
complicated.
basically, now the car has a regular RB26 block. It's a 2.7 liter, especially made by Top Secret, the head and the block. I don't know exactly what they did in terms of internals or massaging or honing or all that tradecraft.
right.
But I'm sure it's there because that motor is definitely good. It's got RB25, R35 injectors, R35 MAFs. It's got 2530 Kai turbos. Exhaust manifolds, PEXI, turbo outlet pipes all the way to the exhaust, full system. What else interesting that it's got on it? It also has a new HKS special piping kit that I fitted just before leaving Japan last year. So right now it's making.
What kind of clutch you run that thing?
It's a OS Geekin twin plate.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And so this was in 14?
So yeah, I'm pretty much running the same setup now as I was running in 14.
So you've been running on that block for 6 years.
Hmm? Yeah.
That's
RBs
what's up.
can be very
and-
like if well built or very reliable power. Like it's just like
What's
anything
that
else.
thing?
Yeah, what are you making?
What do you make it?
Put down.
So brand new, the engine made 540 to the wheels at 1.2 bar.
It's perfect. Like what else do you need in a streetcar track
Which
car?
is
That's
I-
on
I-
that's
I-
on
I
91.
told Top-
That's on pump gas.
that's on
E85.
100 octane Japanese
Yeah.
Okay.
gas.
Oh,
They,
okay.
they have the
Sick.
good shit over there, bro. They got
Okay.
We don't.
Which I'm still running. So I'm still running the same tune, and I'm going down to Sacramento every time I want to drive the car any amount of
Sunoco?
distance to Sunoco to get raped in the ass for $10 a gallon.
Yeah.
Is that C16? Is that what that is out here? Or is it just straight 100 octane? Because what's
I think it's
C16?
straight to
C16 is higher, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
The
I don't know
Sunoco
that.
the Sunoco over in Sacramento is 100 oc, and so
So how heavy is that car? Like 2,400, 2,500 pounds?
Yeah, is it
the last-
stripped?
no,
Like
it-
what's the deal?
no, it's full interior,
AC works.
welded. AC works. Welded to the chassis roll cage. It's got
Nice.
pretty rare Duluck C pillar or B pillar floor bar.
Oh, that's
So that's
cool.
Got a bunch of
that's my
bracing
other
on it.
yeah, that's my other question is like seeing as it obviously all, GTRs, sorry, Skylines come from Japan. But there's a ton of like super sick shit that's really hard to get stateside, but being ingrained and being there for so long, like what like really interesting pieces are on the car? Obviously it's got a top secret block and that's fucking cool as fuck as it is. But like you said, like you got the Duluck like racing bars, like the door bars, right? Like those are incredibly hard to source. You know what I mean?
That's
So
super cool.
There's a lot of interesting pieces on the car. So it's got an Aragusta track spec rollover kit. So Aragusta is an Italian suspension manufacturer.
Mhm.
They usually do like motorcycles,
Mhm.
but for whatever reason, back in the day, they decided to go.
They make
into the
Skyline
Japanese
suspension.
They make a bunch of JDM car suspension, and it's really good.
I'm
And
sure.
so, and something that we haven't dove into yet, and that I guess I should at least explain a little bit of how I've come across so many kind of rare parts for the car. I got out of the Army in 2014, and from 2014 to about middle of 2017, I was working at a Japanese body shop, and like I was the only it was just me. I was the only foreigner working there. There was just Japanese dudes, and that's a whole different story that maybe we could get into another time.
Did they hire you because of your car?
No, I started freelancing for them, and just rolled into that. But they had an old drag 32 sitting and rotting away in their parking lot.
Oh.
And this old drag 32 had like an ATS rear diff, race rear diff. It had this Aerogusta suspension. It had Cusco bar arms, suspension arms everywhere. And what I'm still mad to this day, and that I think I was a few days late on, is that it had like a sick 800 horsepower motor and tranny attached to it that had just gotten ripped out of it by some other foreigner who was doing some dealings with it. And so like I had missed that play by a few days. But like I started working there.
Gotta settle for the top secret block again. Fuck.
Well, at this, by that, like I was still in the Army when the top secret work was getting done, and I got out just after it was done.
Oh,
so
got it.
Like I received the car back from top secret in March of 2014, and I got out of the Army in August of that year.
So how long did that whole transition take from I fucking grenaded my shit to I got to drive it again?
I grenaded that motor in probably November of 2013.
Okay.
Dropped it off at top secret maybe just before Christmas of the next month, and then got it back tuned in March.
I mean, all things considered, that is not a terrible turnaround. Yeah. For, like
considering what I've heard other GT-R builders and dudes waiting in the States for like 2 years for a motor.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, even stateside, fuck that. Like you look at dudes building like vintage hot rods. It's like, oh, I dropped my car off 3 years ago.
That's
right.
I mean?
Yeah.
Working.
That makes me want to
Rick
set up
Brown.
a business to establish
Brown.
a crate motor shipping thing.
Working
Japan
as a
and States.
mechanic in a dealership world, a turnaround time of 3 months is unrealistic. Completely unrealistic. And I want to be a part of that life. Like, I don't want to do a turnaround motor in like 2 days.
Right?
Like
I've seen
buying
him
you
do
in
it,
stock for stock.
but I've seen him do it, and it was a shit show.
Right? It just sucks. Unrealistic. I want to be a part of that life where it's like, you'll get your built motor in 3 months. I got 2 other ones lined up, type of shit. So
Well, I mean, initially they told me 1 month, then
that's
knew
a baseline
that,
though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I knew that was a lie,
Right.
and I also
Yeah,
knew like, hey, I'm giving you my car a month before Tokyo Auto Salon, and I know that my car is not going to be in Tokyo Auto Salon.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
hell
not
no.
You have other
priority.
priorities.
Yeah, you're the
Right.
redheaded stepchild
Like-
in the shop officially.
100%.
Yeah. Sorry,
Easy.
you're the omni-headed stepchild.
Yeah.
So I
Sorry,
have
Kyle.
the
He's a protected class. We can't talk about him that way.
I have the Aerogusta coilovers on it. I have R35 brakes front and rear,
Dude,
which are
they're
also
sick.
top secret
They're
pieces.
so sick. They're so sick.
So funny story about that. So this is like 2016 now. My R35 buddy, who's also a top secret customer, he tracks his car heavily at this time on Fuji, which I was with. We tracked there as well.
Not to interrupt, but this darker color with the different wheels, this is the R30. This has the R35 brakes. I'm just gonna put it up so everybody can see it. But this is with the R35 brakes and all that stuff, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
The darker 32. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was tracking his 35 pretty heavily, and I guess it wasn't the stock 35 brakes weren't enough for him on Fuji anymore. And he was knocking on like 2 minutes door, which is pretty fast, Fuji.
Yeah, he's fucking hauling ass. Jesus Christ.
So he upgraded to, I forget what, but he upgraded, and he had these R35 brakes. And he was just sent me a message. He's like, "Hey man, I'm getting rid of these. Do you maybe want them? I'll give you a good price." And we arranged the price. But my next thing was getting him on the car, and no one was doing R35 brakes on 32 at the time. This is early 2016. Like literally no one was doing it, I think. I went back to Top
I'd
Secret.
never heard of it until you just said it. So yeah, I don't think that anybody was doing that shit.
And so we went back to Top Secret. I talked to Smokey, and he said that it's possible. It's just a matter of making an adapter for it, and that he had someone in mind to do it. And so he reached out, and they did it. But it's funny. This kind of part, it's funny to me. I guess maybe not funny to everybody else. But Smokey was super confident that my wheels would not fit around the brakes. And at the time, I had some cheap ass XXR wheels on it.
How fucking dare you?
It had track rubber on it around.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough.
Come on,
Yeah,
give me
so
something.
you're gonna beat the shit out of him. Then who gives a fuck? But like, I thought
can't buy fucking winter wheels.
No, you can't because you're Timmy, and Timmy doesn't have an R32. Carry on, Lenny. I'm sorry for the interruption.
I mean, a lot of people are going to be mad knowing that I put XXR wheels on a 32.
But if you're beating the fuck out of it, like I'd be way less mad about like busting an XXR.
They could be mad all they want. They're not driving it.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
Facts.
let's be real. They're going to drive home in their Honda Civic.
I mean, surprisingly, they're pretty good wheels. They're pretty sturdy. I never had any issues with them.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
other people have. I know. So Smokey, like, he was super dead set on. Like, he's like, no, these whatever wheels you have on there, I don't even know what they are not going to work. Please buy some. Ray Volk wheels or something.
Go buy some T37s.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, like, it's almost like Smokey knew, because he was like, yeah, just buy these, like, just buy some Rays or whatever. And at the time, the ZE40s had just come out, and those are really nice wheels.
Super crisp.
I really like them. And so I was really in tune with like the Hyper Blue. And at the time, the Hyper Blue with the Bayside Blue, I thought it would be okay or whatever. And so I almost bought those wheels, but I was like, thankfully, my wife was like, "Where the hell are you going to get the money for those wheels? Those are $3,700 wheels. You're already paying them for installation, and who knows what you're paying them for this adapter bracket that you need for these brakes.
It's custom one-off piece. Yeah,
they haven't even given you the price for that yet.
Plus whatever the fuck you paid for that brake package.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Nah, those wheels will fit. And I mean, they fit. I like.
Yep.
Hey.
Oh heck yeah.
A red tire.
If it sits, it fits, baby. That's how it works.
Yeah,
That's right.
It fit.
But I've since gotten a little bit better of a clearance on them.
Yeah.
Other interesting pieces, I guess, on the car would be the HKS piping kit, the special piping kit that's now on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty recent piece. It's special, at least to me, because just so happens through the workings of this Japanese body shop that I was working at, one of their customers or their friends is one of the older mechanics of Garage Source.
Oh shit! Yeah.
A pretty prominent GT-R.
Yes.
Tuner
Top
shop
Rank just had their ridiculous R33 over there, the sequential.
Oh yeah, they keep it over there. Yeah. So I think it's on my Instagram page as well. A picture or a video too of deep midnight purple R33 with a big ass single.
What's
That
your
was
Instagram?
one of their Lenny D-Day.
Yeah, go ahead and plug it. Go ahead and plug that shit.
LENNYEDD.
I already found it.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
It's probably somewhere in like the 2015, 2016 year.
Your account's private.
But this. Oh, I got you.
Magic of the internet.
Where is Top Secret?
It's in Chiba, just outside of Tokyo.
Oh, that's tight.
Timmy, if you don't know shit about Top Secret, you need to like
reevaluate your life.
I mean,
I'm not even. I wasn't.
I wasn't. Of their cars.
I wasn't gonna
just don't
shame
believe
him that hard, but I was just gonna say like, Top Secret is one of those shops. It's like, you know what I mean. It's like if you're an old school hot rod guy, there's like SoCal Speed Shop, right? They've been around forever. They have a lot of really notable vehicles that have come out of there. Top Secret, Garage Saurus, RWB, you know, fucking Nakai-san in his own body modification way. These are really heavy hitters in the Japanese car game, and they've done some prolific shit. Like this is not like bolt-on, we built a clean car shit. This is like, I did a full fucking complete redesign of the body of this vehicle, swapped in a motor from a luxury sedan, made 1,200 horsepower, and shot it down the road at 200 miles an hour in like 1996. Like, you know what I mean?
Ferrari.
Yeah.
We might need a different evening just to talk about all the shit the cars I've seen.
Dude,
at Top
I
Secret.
would. Oh my
I'm
god,
open
I
for
would
it.
love
I'm
to.
totally down to,
Would
dude. Yeah,
love
this
to.
has been great. So
Right.
my
Back
last
on
question. Yeah, my last question. And I want to give you time because we got about 10, 15 minutes left. My last, this is the big single. Holy fucking balls. Are you serious? I found the R33. That is a big old single on that thing.
Just to complete the story on that. So the HKS special piping kit was installed by this old timer mechanic of Garage Saurus, which is a friend and also direct customer of this R33. And so the garages kind of coordinate between themselves to
the order of operations
to facilitate work between, you know, their mutual customer. And so, you know, I talked to him a lot through the dealings with it because I did a lot of work, body work on this 33 in particular. He installed this HKS special piping kit, and he had to custom fabricate a special one-off pipe, and whatnot, because it's like I said before. Once you start modifying things, a lot of things within the RB26 and the body, not a lot of the stuff work in consort to fit into the structuralness of it. So we had to and modify a lot of stuff. And so to me, that HKS piping kit is probably a one-off. Anyway,
that's fucking sick. No, that's great. No, let's. Yeah, like I said, I want to ask this question and have enough time to actually talk about it. First of all, the story's fucking cool as shit. This is like every JDM kid's wet dream your entire life. So good on you, and also fuck you at the same time.
Hold on. We also didn't touch on the fact that the man worked for the body shop and painted his own R32 GT-R in Japan.
That is what I was gonna say that we need to talk about.
We didn't even scratch the surface on the fact that this man lived in Japan for 10 years, took this car from this other dude's dream to his dream, and did pretty much all of that shit.
I mean, that's fucking sick. I mean, this is like, you don't have to know how to do everything on your car, right? Like it's unreasonable for most people. There's obviously people that do know how to, you know, you're a helicopter mechanic. You're obviously very mechanically minded. Obviously, if you're working at a body shop, there's techniques, there's ways to look at body lines. There's way to, you know, a lot of body work is touch. A lot of body work is feel, right? You close your eyes, you run your hand down the car and you listen to it, right? That kind of shit. But to do it at a level where you're going to paint a car a deep color and make it look proper, right? Because the darker the color, the better job you got to do on the bodywork. Period. That's how it works.
Yep.
But there's something to be said for. It's really important, whether it's with your friends or your homies or whatever. Like, work on your car, dude. Like, if you're a car guy, work on your car. Like, if I didn't know how to do something and I want to do it, I called Kyle. Right? Be like, yo, can you help me come do this? But like, I want to do it. Or like, there was another tech, Dave, when I worked at Rover, and he helped me put all the mods on the STI.
Who the
right?
fuck is Dave?
But it's like I had a hand in everything aside from tuning and getting my alignment done on my STI so far, right? But it's you have a real appreciation for your car and you fall in love with it, right? You build that connection.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And
sure.
and I mean, there's a whole like Eric Bana had a movie called Love the Beast or some shit like that, where he talks about the car that him and his buddies grew up racing. He did the Target Tasmania and all this shit, and he wrecked it, and they built it and put it back together. This whole thing, right? And he has interviews with Jeremy Clarkson and all these other people, and it's like, if you're not a car person, you don't understand that you can grow an emotional attachment like you would to a dog or a person to a car, right?
Oh hell yeah!
And that comes from getting your fucking hands dirty on it. Right? Fighting it.
100%.
Because you like
100%.
I'm sure when you had those turbos off, you're bartering with the car. Like, just fucking work with me, please.
I still have scars.
Yeah. It's like, can you just let's do this. I'm trying to put you back together.
Maybe Mike will one day understand like what like this particular scar, like the particular points in which you get the scar means that you were working on a particular part.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there's another Skyline guy be like, you got one of these? You got one of these?
Yeah,
Oh, you did that shit too.
Write a
Yeah.
message. Just write a
I've
message.
seen videos.
You can
I'm
get that
not
tatted
looking
on
forward to
yourself.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
No, but you
My
should.
advice to
Like,
you is
But I will
always
though.
drop
I'll
them.
love every second of it. I will love
Yeah, no,
every
you-
single fucking second of it.
I think anybody that works on cars loves and hates working on cars at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like at the exact same time. There is no separation between the two, right? Like,
No.
There was a few years where I couldn't work on my car.
yeah.
Like not like physically, mentally. Like
Oh yeah.
and it was in the years where I was working on the body shop. Like it's kind of that old adage, like you work on other people's cars all day, you don't want to work on your own shit.
Yeah,
right?
it's the truth.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
There's something to be said for
100%.
not doing what you love as a job, because then you don't love it anymore.
Correct.
Pretty
Like-
sure
like
my
I-
Subaru sat in my garage
I-
for 10 months before I actually finished it.
It happens.
I loved working at the body shop. But like, to be honest, like I was working 60, 70-hour days, like 70-hour weeks, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like I was working every Saturday. And so like it was more of I don't have the mental fortitude or the
The
ability
energy.
and the
just
physical
wanna-
energy to
You
do
just
it.
want to break, man. You just want like a
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you just got to take that, and that's okay. I mean, I went through a time period where, so I grew up always wrenching on shit boxes, right? Like I had a couple of 240s, I had RSX, I had all this other shit, and then I fell on hard times like everybody does. I had a kid, all that stuff, and I didn't really have a way to work on anything. I didn't have any tools anymore because I'd moved so many times, and you don't have all this shit. And then slowly, since I got this STI, my second one, I've built up a half decent tool set, and bought some shit off some of these guys and shit like that, and gotten back to working on my car. And it's like there's a sense of freedom about it, because it's like I'll just fucking do it myself,
100%.
right? I'll
Absolutely.
just fucking do it myself,
100%.
and that's it, right? Like call the homie, like, hey, yo, I'm gonna do this. You down? I'll buy beers.
Yeah.
Literally, I
Yeah,
was gonna put the
100%.
lip kit on the STI, and I called Kyle. I was like, "Yo, can I come use your Jack and Jack stands? I'll bring beer. We're drinking fucking tall cans at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday." You know what I'm saying? Like, put the lip kit on my car.
Yeah, we were.
I've formed lifelong friendships that way.
Yeah,
That's the best. That's the best.
and that's
Very-
what
very
that's
much
what
the
car
best.
community is. That is what car community
Yeah.
is. Car community is not.
Whether you like Nissans or Subarus,
Yeah.
Hondas, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You have a call to arms if anyone like, hey man, I just met you, but like, have you ever taken twin turbos out of a GT-R or dealt with turbo cars? Oh yeah, man, I got you. I used to work at Cobb.
right?
Yeah, it's the truth. I can't tell you how many times at the base of GMR in LA there'd be some kid in his shitbox MR2 that was fucking overheating, because those first gen MR2s just like to overheat. I don't know what the
Yeah.
deal is, right? And we're crawling in the engine bay trying to figure out ways to cool it down and figure out where the fucking you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to do that at 3 o'clock in the morning, but this kid is 50 miles from home and needs to get home, and his car is not fucking cooperating. So I'm gonna help him out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's just how it goes. But my last question was, we know the ordeal that Mike went through with his Skyline as far as registering it, etc. And if you can't comment on this for legal reasons, please feel free to plead the fifth. But importing a car from Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we'll say is a couple degrees off of stock at this point. And getting a stock one is hard enough, right? Especially in California. How difficult of a process was that for you?
It wasn't difficult, really at all. But I guess I had a lot of practice prior to importing my own car.
Okay.
And so like this is a totally different other story. Is that also during the time that I was working at this Japanese body shop, I was also working for Rivsu Japan, which is the mother company of Rivsu, which we all know about. But that being said, I was the logistics manager for a lot of the service members that were importing their cars through our Japanese-based company. So like just to be clear, I just want to make this clear right now, is that there were 2 separate companies in all of that nonsense that went on. And so Rivsu Japan was a completely separate company, a completely separate entity. And so that's who I was working for. And we were working in concert with Steve McCarthy and Rivsu USA over here. That's why they shared the same name. But we were
independent
arranging
business.
Independent business. We were just arranging a lot of the shipment. And so I was logistics manager in the greater Tokyo area. And so I had a lot of practice and a lot of networking contacts through shipping companies and logistics businesses to work all that paperwork. And so when years later it came to time for me to leave and for me to import the 32 over to the States here, I just kind of used that and I did it all myself. And I mean, I guess for anybody who's looking to do it on their own for the first time, it's not that hard. You do need to know a lot of people. You do need to have a good network, do a lot of research, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
But I would say that the services that I've seen, Top Rank included, or whoever you use, their service fees is pretty on par with what you pay anyway. There's a little bit of convenience.
But I mean, it's literally what you would pay anyone else to arrange documents for you at that point.
I mean,
right?
it's a service, right? You got to pay the piper somewhere. I mean, it's a business.
Yeah.
And that for me, like that would be worth the headache, just paying them the percentage, whatever it is, right? Be like, I want this thing, give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, me myself. I mean, I did it for a job for a few years, so I did it myself. And
and you have you have the ins and the outs, and you have the contacts. But for me, it's like it's more work to try and learn the ins and the outs and find the contacts, and it's just like pay Sean, be like, dude, I want that thing. Send it to Texas. Peace. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, yeah. That being said, the car is registered in Texas because it definitely will pass California. I'm also a resident of Texas. I have a rental property in Texas, just for anybody who's listening.
If there's any fucking narcs listening,
I have documents to prove it.
If there's any fucking narcs listening,
I also
legit.
live in Arizona. I live in Arizona, and I'm going there next week as well.
For any narcs that are listening,
Be there next weekend, bitches.
I actually live in Texas, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. So that's cool.
Nice.
Including apparently concealed carry a handgun without a permit. Because
I saw that.
Adopt a GTI.
Do I want to adopt a GTI? I mean,
no, he wants a Golf R.
I
mean, technically, Alex does have perks in Texas.
I have a few perks.
We should talk about that.
Oh my god, you guys are gonna get me fucking.
Probably.
I'm gonna be the first Texan to be rated by fucking Carb. Watch.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're 100% welcome.
All right. Oh my
Fucking
god.
sick, man. We all are fucking jealous. That shit is tight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Listen,
It's definitely
first
been
of all,
a hard road.
I think that this is one of the fucking coolest car stories I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of them.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
From
Yes.
I've listened. I listen to a
100%.
lot of automotive podcasts. I talk to a lot of people at car shows. When there's an interesting car, my first question is like, "Yo, what's up with this thing, dude?" You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? I always like to hear some shit, and
It's like a real story.
this is by and large one of the coolest fucking podcasts, like about a single dude in his car that I've ever heard. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to promote the fucking shit out of this thing because,
Yeah.
like, this
I
is
appreciate that. Thank
yeah,
you.
this is cool, dude. And you're a real ass car dude. You know what I mean? This isn't like, oh, how'd you get your R32? Well, I bought it. End of story, right? Like, there's like a fucking,
Yeah.
there's a long progression. There's some really interesting characters, and any car person would gladly watch a movie based on the story of this car because that's just how we fucking are, right? Like,
Dude, 1,000%.
And-
1,000%.
yeah, it's just you got to live the fucking dream, dude. And it's cool to know that like somebody else did it. You know what I mean? Like it's a real thing. And all of these
Appreciate it.
places that,
I guess it feels
you
good.
know, all these places that guys like me and like Mike,
Good.
who are like the real fucking JDM nerds and shit, like all the people that we grew up watching videos of and reading about in fucking Super Street and all this other shit, right? Like,
Dude, I was one of those kids, man.
yeah. And it's like 6 degrees of separation, right? And so it's
Right?
just, yeah, this story is really exciting to me. This story does a lot for me personally. And I appreciate you coming on, man. I do. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, out of your life to share this story with us. And like I said, I hope a lot of other people listen, watch, whatever, and get the feels like this fucking story gave me the feels, man, because it hit hard. It hit the fucking nerdy kid deep inside, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, now I just want to go throw money at my car because it's just, you know.
Dude, so badly. I would just pull a credit card out and just go like swipe, swipe, swipe.
And
swipe, swipe.
stage
Order it all.
5 blocks sold.
well,
Yeah.
Order it all.
Bunch of
Order it
parts to
all.
sell, man.
Yeah, no, like my
No,
wife was
seriously,
like,
guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
no, I mean, and I
Hell
would
yeah.
love to have you on again because I feel like you have a wealth of
Yeah.
stories. On a small personal note, my wife made a really good point the other day. She goes, "You have a stock catted downpipe, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, you don't need it anymore." I was like, "No." She goes, "Aren't those things worth like $1,800?" And I was like,
My God.
"They are."
They
I was like,
are.
you know, and then I go, "You know what else is $1,800?" She goes, "What?" I go, "The wheels that I won."
Big things are coming to Alex's life. Oh,
Big-
big brain.
The only
Big
problem is
breakthrough.
now I'm in a market that doesn't need catted downpipes, and I'm trying to sell a fucking catted downpipes.
Hey,
Dude,
Let's
California.
conversation.
So
hello.
anybody,
Let's have a conversation.
anybody in Cali who needs a fucking catted downpipe, holler at your boy. It's already in a Grim Speed box. We can fucking make it work. Venmo me.
Nice.
He is Lenny D-Day on Instagram. He's got a sick ass car. You can find us at RevMatch. What are you fucking RevMatch Podcast on Instagram? I don't even remember anymore.
Yes, we are. Damn
I've-
straight we fucking
I've
are.
officially made
Yeah.
somebody else take over the Instagram management. And so, yeah, it's
Yeah.
RevMatch Podcast on Instagram, RevMatch Podcast at YouTube, but you probably know that because you're probably watching. Thank you guys. We appreciate you as always. And make sure everybody listens to this because the story is great. We have one other really big guest coming up very soon. So that'll be a fucking cool ass episode as well. We're really pushing to do a little bit more with this year than we did during the pandemic. Things are opening up. And yeah, man, it's gonna be great. Anyway, as always, thanks for listening. We love you guys, and peace out.
Okay, bye.